I didn't even try to time it like that where the beats were going with the numbers, Tom, but I was
You
watching
did
it.
really good job.
It was going pretty good. I was like, wait a minute. That
You
happened
did a really
completely
nice
on
job
accident.
with that. Yeah. Well, it worked out.
Yes, it did. Well, I hope our picks work out today. Today, Tom and I are going to do a little bit of international. Well, mostly Tom today. Well, it's going to be 60% Rich and 100% Tom because I couldn't find any information, some past performance on the two French races at Saint Cloud. Is that right? Saint Cloud?
Saint Cloud, yeah.
Yes, I got it right. See, I'm learning to speak French from spending my Friday mornings with Tom. And we're going to do a couple races in France, 2 at Newbury, 1 at Doncaster in England. So 5 total races to get you, something to do early Saturday morning before the college football games get started. And then you start to put your degenerate money on some Alabama or Florida or some other SEC team that's going to let you down. So the first race, Tom, we're going to do is in Saint Cloud. It's the Criterium International Group 1 race, Tom.
Yeah.
It's tell us a little bit, first of all, about the track there, and then a little bit about the race itself.
Saint Cloud is in Paris, right next to Paris. It's across the Seine from where Longchamp is. And so not a stone's throw, but it's close. It was first.
Is it like a good drive off the first tee away?
Yeah, it's not far. I mean, it's like, I think 3 miles, 4 miles, something like that. It's not very far. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, background on this is this was first used as a grounds that Napoleon used. And so it dates back for a couple of years. And
did he use it for horse racing?
No, not for horse racing. It was for training and his usual stuff. The grounds date back a long time, and they've been racing there for a long time too. This is one of the 4 tracks that offer Group 1 racing. The other tracks will have Group 2, Group 3, or whatever are listed. But these is one of the better tracks in the country. So when you see horses racing here, this is not a bunch of slouches. These are top class.
Good stuff. You were talking of Napoleon, and this is a training ground. My family is from Germany in a town called Regensburg, which is where the Danube River runs through. It's an important part that connects, I guess, the north part of the country to the southern part of the country, to Bavaria. And there's a hill on the one side of the Danube River. And I was standing up there with my aunt, who was a teacher, and she was telling me how, where you stand right now, Napoleon stood, I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, firing down arrows of fire onto the city below, which was crazy. But there's an interesting bridge there, too, that's made out of stones and stuff, where there was some supposed deal between the devil and the Catholic priest there and getting it done on time for some specific reason. But it's interesting because during World War II, it was a very important strategic area because it cut off the North and the South. So the Allies, the US and England and so forth, would bomb the town constantly, trying to knock down those bridges. And they knocked down the other bridges, but the one that where there's supposedly a deal with the devil, it did not get knocked down or damaged during the war, which is really kind of weird. But in any case, you brought that up, that came to mind. Has nothing to do with horse racing whatsoever at all. So why not go off on a tangent?
Unless there's horse racing in the town.
Well, maybe he rode his horses up there to fire the arrows down, and they used horses to build the Devil's Bridge. But in any case,
you never know.
You never know. But we're going to go to Saint Cloud for this 7 furlong race on the turf for 2-year-olds. So you got 7 furlongs, you got grass that's supposed to be good to soft, 2-year-olds, turf, and 7 furlongs, kind of an odd. It's 1 mile, kind of a.
It's a mile.
Is this a turn, no turn, straight? What sort of track is this?
Yes. If I remember correctly, it's a slight turn.
Slight turn. All right. So tell us who you like and why you like him, Tom.
I took number 2, Angel Blue, who has draw 5. Last 2 wins are both at 7 furlongs, and he's beaten group horses. He's won on all kinds of surfaces. So good to firm, soft, good to soft, and heavy. And so I don't really care what the track is. I think the horse will be able to handle it. Mm-hmm. The thing with his wins is he doesn't win by big margins. So he's not going to blow him away. But he does find a way to get there.
Doesn't change the payout, though.
No. 6 starts this year, 3 wins and 2 placings. He's won one bad race. That was at Royal Ascot. And then later in the season, he beat the winner of that race that he lost in. So he's been very consistent for a 2-year-old. Frankie Dettori will ride, and he's stepping up a little in distance, but it doesn't appear to be a problem. And his dam, and also her offspring have all won going at distances of a mile or longer, or even. So this easily could be next year middle distance horse in England.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised. 2,000 guineas maybe. The next choice is the top pick, which will be Ancient Rome. It has draw 3. It should be the favorite in this race. Lost to Angel Blue last time at Longchamp, but was gaining at the end. Ran 3rd. First attempt at a Group 1 race last time, but he's a Group 3 winner, so he has been pretty good because he's got 5 starts, 3 wins, and 2 placings. It's Andre Fabre trained. This was a horse that he was considered sending to the Breeders' Cup, but opted for this race instead. But he may, if he does well at this race, you never know. They may put him on a plane and send him to Del Mar.
See him in California, going back to Cali.
He's already run at the distance, and he's won at this distance. And again, another one who appears to want more ground. Number 6, Purple Pay, with draw 1, is my final selection.
There's a Tom play right there, the 14-1.
Yeah. Appears to be an improving horse moving into the Group 1 company. It just ran a condition race at Longchamp last time out. The record is 5 starts, 2 wins, and 3 placings. Again, you can't complain about that. Placed in the first 2 races at 6 and 5.5 furlongs, and then given a 71-day break. And they came back good second, off the layoff, and then 2 wins. So that break was probably very important.
Sounds like it.
The other thing is it is moving from minor tracks to Longchamp, and it did it got a second. It was very good in that race. Or I should say win. He actually won in that condition. So, he appears to want more distance. The last 3 races have been over a mile, and so this distance should not be an issue. The question will be stamina and form, and whether he can handle this. It can handle Group 1 type company, but we'll see.
Find out for sure. Like I said, unfortunately, I could not get any past performances for the 2 front races, so going to have to rely on Tom, who went with 2, 5, and 6 as his top 3 plays. The next race is at Saint Cloud as well. That is, why do I have to agree to every one of these things, managing cookies? This one is a mile and an 1/8, the Criterium de Saint-Cloud. It's another Group 2-year-olds, Group 1 for 2-year-olds, Colts and fillies. So they're mixing the boys and the girls here. And again, you mile and an 1/8, 2-year-olds, turf. Anything could happen.
Yeah, and generally does.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about these international races. You could do the Terry bet. Terry's bet kind of works out pretty well. I've noticed where he alls the field over the favorite, or maybe the 2 favorites, particularly if there's a heavy favorite hoping to catch a price. And many times when I go look on Saturday afternoon to see how we did, there's sometimes a nice triple digit winner. So yeah. that strategy can pay nicely.
Yeah, well, I did go with the favorite in this race. Golden Spur has draw 3, undefeated in 2 starts, and he's gone close to this distance so far. Last out, he was a Group 3 win at Newmarket. And interestingly enough, that race he was 4 seconds over the standard, which really is not bad for 2-year-olds. Because again, that standard is based on all rather than specific, the way they do it there.
So I'd be like a sort of a way. It's semi like creating a speed figure.
Yeah, exactly. Winning it on good and soft going, so the going should not be an issue here.
It's supposed to be good.
This is a horse I think will be racing close to the leaders, but will not be cutting the fractions. I don't see that because it did in the first 2 starts. I don't see why they would change the strategy. Another Godolphin owned, Charlie Appleby, and he's having a career year with 2-year-olds and career with other ones like Hurricane Lane too. So can't complain about any of that. The jockey switch shouldn't be a big issue because he's going from James Doyle to William Buick. So these are top Godolphin riders. Number 9 with draw 7 is Martel. He's the other undefeated horse in this race. He's 2 for 2. He's won at 7 and 8 furlongs, and one race was over this track. So that's always a positive for me. There's no question about the distance in my mind because the dam won at great distance of greater than a mile and at the grade 1 level because she raced over here. And she was actually trained by Chad Brown, the dam was. So, and, but the standard times were were 11 seconds behind. But I dismissed it because of the conditions. It was very, very soft. And so they're winning only on crappy tracks with this horse. So it's kind of interesting. Maxine Guillaume will ride with Andre Fabre trained, and she's been on the other twice before for the 2 wins. My final choice is number 2, which is Dream Flight has draw 4. One last time out for the first time after 2 other tries. He's placed in his other 2 races. He's made all the running in the last race. So I think this one could be the one who's going to go out for the lead. And I think he can hold on to get a piece of this. His dam is a graded stakes winner, and but she also liked to run second and third. And some of her offspring are doing the same thing. So that's very interesting that you win a race, but you like to, the dam would win, but she won a graded race, but then she ran second and third in a lot of races that were graded or group races. And
yeah, that's fine though.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see that the Dream Flight, first 2 races, it was in the money, but didn't win. And then it took a third race, and maybe it was just learning. They are 2-year-olds, and then won. So those are my selections for the Saint Cloud races.
For the Saint Cloud races. So he likes in the top spot, the 5 horse, followed by the 9 horse, followed by the 2 horse. So 592 for Tom at Saint Cloud in the Criterium de Saint-Cloud. So now we'll find our way over to England, Tom, where I was able to get, I will be able to participate now. Yay. Yay. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but anyway, you have 1 mile and 4 furlongs. So you got a mile and a half going here, right, Tom? And then that's, is there a turn here or not a turn?
Yes.
All right.
This is Newbury.
Newbury, yes. I'm unfamiliar with the tracks. You're more familiar with the layouts and so forth. So this one is a mile and a half. This is 3-year-olds and up. So you don't got the 2-year-olds. Maybe a little bit more consistency here. I think importantly, it's supposed to be a heavy going. So I really focused on horses that perform very well when under the worst circumstances. And anyway, Tom, take it away. What do you like?
Top choice is number 6 with draw 3. It's In Shar Core. He won his last race. He's won at the handicap level this year, so this is a step up for him. The only other try he's had, he finished 5th in a Group 3 race. This is a Group 3 race that was in May. He came off a layoff recently. He ran 6th in a listed race, but lost only by 2 1/4 lengths. So that's not a huge margin. And he didn't have the pace to finish was the best way to describe the race. So I think that's a form issue. So he needed a race. He's won on heavy going. So he's shown some ability on this type of going against a little lesser. And I just, I think, well, why not go for a price? And it's one of those races where I think anything can happen because there's 2 big favorites. One being the 7, but I picked number 3. Max Vega is my second choice, draw 4. It was held back early in the race last time out, kicked on, got 3rd, and there's no way it was going to get the winner because the winner's very good. Three times this in the group 3 levels, including a and he's running a handicap race that was the 20 horse field that Sonny Boy listed won. And ran in listed races, so he's been with good company. He's just not getting there.
Uh-huh.
And I think if he's slow enough in the last race to top this bunch, and I know that sounds screwy, but I think he's got the distances suit him, and I think the pace will suit him to be able to, that final furlong to have some kick left to be in position of the 2 furlong marker out, and 1 furlong he'll be able to kick on.
Yeah, and he's done okay at Newbury with a win in a second and 3 starts. So he's got some run over the track, which I like to see as well.
7, the favorites is Land Withdrawal 1. He's won 4 times at the handicap and novice level for his career. He's never raced in either a listed, which would be a class 1 race, or group racing. So this is a pretty good step up.
Mm-hmm.
When they put him away last year, was it last year? Yeah, last year he had a 72-day. He went off a 72-day layoff and was gelded prior to that. So
probably wish he didn't go on break.
Obviously, then he started winning. So maybe the gelding was the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
The big question with this horse is going to be able to handle the class.
Step up.
A step up. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Everything on the form says it should be able to, but you got to run the race, and that heavy going, that may play a factor in whether this horse can actually win this race.
Can make that move. I do have that Siskiny as my top choice, simply because I look back at I look at all of the soft races, and he looks to me like the horse is either won on soft turf or finished second by 3/4 of a length. So it seems to me that it fares well when the grass is not so good. And then I have the 2 horse as my second choice. That's Ila Rob. It's another horse that's done very well on the soft surface. Last time out, not so good. But you go a little bit further back, you see some good work there on the soft surface. And he does have a win and a third in 2 runs on the Newbury track. I agree with you. I have the 6 horse in there too, Tom, as my third pick. So I think maybe you're having some influence on me that I think some of the same way.
For good or bad.
We're good or bad. Inchicore, just looking back at the soft races, the last one on the soft wasn't so good, but you go back to Linkfield, it won by 6 1/4. You go back to heavy at Leicester, and you won by 1 1/4. So the horse, its 2 best runs, his 2 wins, both came on a track that was soft to heavy. So that should hopefully work out.
Remember, Linkfield has 2 courses. They have an all-weather, and they have a grass course on it. So there is a distinction there of what the grass course is. So some people don't realize that.
But he did run on grass, so it did identify it as a turf.
It was turf race, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then number 4 is Morando. That's my 4th pick. Again, this is a horse, when you go back and look at its soft, it's had some of its better races on soft. So why not take a little bit of more of a price there? Plus, it has a bit of an experience at Newbury with 3 runs, a win, and a second. So I do like when horses have some history. I do like when they run well on the surface that they're going to get. And like you said, why not take a couple shots in here, because you don't know what you're going to get when the ground is really heavy and sloppy and so forth.
And 2-year-olds.
Yeah, well, I think these are a little bit older, though. These are 3 and up. So the next race, though, might be 2-year-olds, Tom.
That is 3-year-olds, yes.
Yes. So the next one, I don't know why it's the next one. It's actually previously. I did things backwards today.
Yeah, no, it's 3 and up. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of something else.
But Newbury race, the 2 o'clock race, it's a 7 furlong race. It's the Horris Hill Stakes. I don't know why I started with race 3 and went to race 2, but that's okay. Race 2 is 7 furlongs, Tom. Is this one a straight race 2 or not?
Yeah.
It is a straight race. Okay, fantastic. And what do you like in this race?
Number 6, the big favorite, Noble Truth, who has draw 1. He's going to drop out from a Group 1 race down to a Group 3. He's been running against a lot better horses, and he ran at a mile in a Group 1 in France. And that was on the heavy going. He did lose, but still good.
Lost to a horse I think we just talked a few minutes ago about.
Angel Blue. And all his races have been at 7 furlongs, 2 wins from 5 starts. So he's won a maiden and won a listed, and then placed in that Group 1 at Longchamp. So I looked at the numbers, and I mean, he's been rated as up to 110 for his last race. That was the Longchamp race. Didn't win that one too, so keep that in mind. His listed race was a 106. So the handicappers have been looking at it and saying, "Oh, this is a decent horse." And again, I think it's the one to beat, and it has tried the heavy going. So we'll see if that keeps up and can continue to move forward. I do think this is a bit of class drop, so we'll see what happens. Number 3, Dubai's Poet is my next choice. He has draw 3. In the last race, he faced a horse that's on the upswing, a 2-year-old in a Group 3, and nobody touched that horse. And it was a big favorite, and it's got bigger things in mind for that horse. Okay, he's only a novice winner, so his 3 starts, but he placed in his last race. He's dropping back from an 8 furlong, 1 mile race down to 7 furlongs, and I think he's more suited for that. And his racing style should be nice for this type of field. He's going to make a move around the 2 furlong marker, and then when he does, he's either going to be there or he's going to be stuck in the mud, because
maybe quite literally.
Yeah, exactly. And final choice is the second choice, which is number 1, Light Infantry. Has draw 8, 1 for 1. It won its first race at Yarmouth. The description was really interesting to read of the race. In the beginning of the race, the horse, he sort of got out the gate. He was green. He didn't know what to do, it looked like. And then the jockey finally got his mind going in the right direction. And 2 furlongs out, all of a sudden the horse is going, and he wins by 6.5 lengths in a 6 furlong race. So it's interesting that was that kind of race came out of that horse. So I mean, that's a lot of the jockey getting the horse to do something rather than doing what he did, which was at the beginning was
kind of loafing.
Yeah, let's check the crowd out. Let's see what's going on.
What is going on here?
So it's the dam won at once at the 7.5 furlong marker, and the other offspring has won. And one offspring won, and the other one never won. So the interesting thing here was the time on that 6 furlong race. The standard it was 2.63 seconds over the standard. So if he repeats his greenness throughout the race, he's not going to have a chance. But if he's got his mind on the racing, I think he's got a nice chance in here.
Yeah, you're making segues easy today, Tom, because I have Light Infantry as my top choice, because I noticed the same commentary about how the horse just kind of dilly-dallied, loafed out of the gates, and then said, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be racing," and took off and then hit the jets and won by 6.5 lengths. To me, that's kind of hard to do. Most of the time when you see first-time starters break poorly, it's rare that they get back involved in the race, and then it's even more rare to watch them win by 6.5 lengths. So when I see something like that, that says to me that horse has a lot more potential than perhaps where the owners thought it might have when they debuted it. Number 2 is my second choice. That's Cresta. In its debut, 7 furlongs, much like today's a 7 furlong race, got itself a soft track and ended up winning by 3/4 of a length. Now it's going to get a soft track again, in all likelihood, and 7 furlongs again. So perhaps the soft track is enough to make up for a 4th place finish last time out in a G3. Now, I do like the favorite, Noble Truth, next. The only thing I didn't like about Noble Truth is that it has run well on a heavy track last time out, but it also struggled on a soft track in its debut. So I'm kind of hoping that it's somewhere in the middle, so it does finish in the money, so I can get the exacta, trifecta, or swinger, or all those different types of bets that they have available there. But at the same time, I'm kind of hoping to beat the favorite. And then finally, I have a long shot here, Tom, and that's the first horse, number 1, American Star, which is the right down here, it's the second longest shot on the board at 40-1. If you look back at its soft rating, last time it ran at Newbury, it was 7 furlongs. It was on a soft track, and he won by 1 3/4 lengths. In fact, he has 2 wins. You go back to the other time he ran on a soft track, that was at Salisbury. He again won by 2 lengths. So he's run on a soft track 2 times, has 2 wins in 6 lifetime starts. Why not make it 3 at 30-1? So you got a bunch of 3s going wild there. There has to be some numerology in that. Finally, we're going to go to Doncaster, and that is the Futurity Trophy Stakes. This is a Group 1, no geldings, so these horses are happy. And you have a bunch of 2-year-olds again. So this is probably what you were thinking about before. 1 mile, and again, a soft, likely surface.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be soft. Good to soft. No, Doncaster. I think didn't they rate this as soft? Yeah, I think
it's going. This is the going is going to be soft.
Soft going,
and they're going to start the stalls in the center.
Yeah, and it is a straightaway.
Another straightaway. Okay, just
yeah.
I kind of like those. But the one thing I don't like about it sometimes is that when some of the angles are hard to keep up with where the horses are at. I kind of like when they come around the corner and you get to see them on a kind of across instead of from side to side.
Well, as an example, at Ascot, since they have that that area along the track, the cameras take you through the race.
Mm-hmm.
So the first couple of furlongs, you're right there. Where it gets tough is when they do the big pan view, and then you're trying to, especially when they're split into 2 groups, you're trying to figure out, okay,
where's my horse?
Yeah.
And they don't wear like the red, the white, the blue like they do over here. They all wear the same damn thing.
Yeah, I use the hat, the helmet colors as my
in the silks,
because otherwise I wouldn't be able to figure out where the hell they are.
Their announcers have to be so much, I think, better. I'm going to say better because that's not fair to say better, but they have to be more descriptive so that the watcher can follow along. Because here you can look at the numbers and keep track of your horse, but there you have to really rely on the announcer keeping you informed on where your horse is while you're watching.
And we have the RFID systems where they put them in the saddle cloth so you know where the position of the horse is in the race and things like that, where they don't really do that over there.
Yeah. But I love when they do that over here, because sometimes there's that one horse that's like way, he's in the lead and his little marker on the screen is like way back and up on the screen. And you're like, wait a minute, what was my horse doing out there? I thought it was on the lead. Anyway, the Doncaster Futurity Trophy Stakes for 2-year-olds running 1 straight mile on a soft surface, no gelding. So these are some happy boys. Who do you think is going to win this one, Tom?
I'm going to go back with one of my favorites, number 7, Royal Patronage. Has draw 7, won his last 3 races. He's moved from novice to Group 3 to Group 2. Why not move to Group 1?
Seems to make sense.
Front runner, without question. He will be cutting the mile. There is no question in my mind. He won by a neck over one of the horses we talked about before, Cora Robius, who won that Group 3. That is a definite improving horse. So he beat a good horse, and he got caught, but he still fought on to win. So I
like to see.
To me, that's a great sign. Yeah,
heart. He's got heart,
especially in a 2-year-old. A lot of them, they get caught, they'll quit, and this one doesn't appear to be doing that. He's won on good to soft, good to firm. We'll see how he does on soft. Cutting the mile may help him a lot.
Well, he did debut on soft, and it wasn't so good, but then he came back in Epsom on soft, and he won by 5. So it looks like his form after coming off the bench has been much better than prior to taking a little bit of a rest.
Yeah, we'll see how he in that area. This is his first run at a mile, and so I need to go look a little at the breeding. The Dan Warner races over a mile, but the sire was one of the top 2-year-old sprinters, and when he ran, so they're looking at middle distance type horse going forward with this horse, and certainly I can't say no at this point. It's done very nicely. And I
7 furlongs fits that middle distance too.
Yeah, I mean, I would, I like the what's going with this horse, and very positive. But this is going to be interesting to see how it can handle this race. Should give you some idea, and then obviously it's going to get put away for the winner. Number 1, Bayside Boy is my next choice. Draw 6, 2 wins from 4 starts, and placed in the other 2 races. Last race, it dwelt. Didn't want to get out of the gate, and lost only by 2.5 lengths. So that's a good sign for a 2-year-old. Wanted to run and did. Group 1 winner at Doncaster, which I like. And we got a win over the ground. He's won on good to soft and good going. I don't think it should be any problem at all. The dam won over a mile. The offspring have also won over a mile. But as I put, not all of them, because some of them have tried and not so successful. The sire won most of his races over a mile. So that it says to me that Bayside Boy should be able to handle this. Luxembourg is my final choice. Undefeated and winning by nice margins. Both races were at a mile. But I don't know what he was running against. I tried to do a little research on what was going on behind him, and apparently there was not much. That added with the fact that Aidan O'Brien has not won a Group 1 race with a 2-year-old this year. And in October, his 3-year-olds ran 31 times, and guess what? None of them won.
I think I saw all 31 won.
Yeah. Well, is the barn out of form?
Sounds like it.
Could be. And and that'd be something I want to point out for the Breeders' Cup.
Just waiting on Sean to pick him, because he was like 0 for 16 or something like that. Then Sean picked him, and he picked against him, and he won. So
yeah,
if Sean, you're out there, pick against him, so we know that he's going to win.
And so that's my concern with Luxembourg. More the concern for me is really what he's been running up against. It doesn't appear to be this kind of type of field. And if he wins, great, because he really then proved that he is a top horse. But some of these guys have run against much better company and in this type of company, and they've done very well. So that's why, I mean, you can make a case for a couple other horses in this field that would be right there at the end.
I agree with you. Well, we agree on the top 3 horses, just a little bit different order. I have Royal Patronage, so we agree on having that horse at the top. I have Luxembourg second. I agree with you that it's, the wins have both been impressive. They haven't been close, but let's see what they can do in the next level up. Class rating in the last race, though, was pretty strong relative to what everybody else has run against. So I do also like Bayside Boy. It's I think the most expensive horse in the field. And then finally, I have a little bit of a long shot in here. Is my 4th selection, and it's a real long shot, Tom. And it's Hannibal Barca. That's the 3 horse. If you look at this horse, last time out, it caught a good surface. I mean, a soft surface. That's 7 furlongs, and was not too far off the pace. Kind of sat behind the leaders, and then at the end of the race, just said, "You know what, folks? I'm out of here. I'm to the finish line. I'm collecting a check." And the class rating on that race was not that bad either. So the first time across a soft track, it liked it. And it added distance at the end of the race. Horses weren't catching it. It was running away. So why not at 80-1, Tom?
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Could make some dollars too if it works out.
Yeah. Well, and I go back to what I always say. They're 2-year-olds.
Oh, God.
Anything is possible.
Well, you got 2-year-olds. You got a soft track, right? You got some horses stretching out for the first time. You just have no idea who's going to take to it, who's not going to take to it, who's going to like the surface, who's not going to like the surface. So that's why when I saw that the track was going to be off heavy or soft in the 2 English tracks that we covered, I focused on those horses because a lot of times some horses I've noticed, they run well when it's wet and not so well when it's not wet. So I'm going to go with the form on the surface, and I'm going to go with horses that seem to be in form right now. So let's see how it plays out tomorrow morning.
And it makes when we handicap here, because they pull the races from the turf, well, they can't do that there. So you're going to run on whatever you got.
Indeed. So, and I kind of like that because you can find some prices then, right?
Yeah.
Instead of having horses, you have an 8-horse field on the turf and they move it to dirt and 4 of the 8 horses scratch.
Yeah.
You're going to get a 1-9 that ends up, that shouldn't be 1-9 that you have a hard time betting against. And if you bet against him, he wins. And if you bet on him, he doesn't, right? That's how that goes. I mean, that's the sad song of every, broken down horse player for sure. Any other final thoughts about the weekend racing, Tom, before we get up and out of here?
Well, more going forward. Breeders' Cup is how far away?
2 weeks, right? Not next weekend, but the following weekend.
Yeah, and next Friday we'll have the at least have the preliminaries. I thought maybe we would look at the foreign horses that are being entered in the Breeders' Cup and have a little discussion about what we see and possibly that you need to look at.
That sounds like a good idea.
Some of
little
them,
Breeder Cup prep.
Yeah, but we'll focus only on the foreign horses. And,
yeah, of course.
And give people some idea of what our thoughts are and what to look for with these horses, and talk about the types of races that they run versus how you're going to negotiate, especially the turf at Del Mar, which has got some nice tight little turns.
Mm-hmm.
So those outside posts are going to be very interesting.
Well, they can't, especially if they're speed horses.
Yeah.
If they're closers, then jockeys who have a history of knowing how to save ground and all that sort of stuff could work out well.
Yeah, exactly. Drop in and see what you can do.
For sure. That sounds like a great idea, Tom. I think a lot of people will appreciate that too. An international review of the international horses in the Breeders' Cup, so we can catch another order of Australia that pays $73 or something like that to it. 150, right?
Yeah, $158. I think it paid.
Yeah, it was off at 75 to 1.
Yeah,
for sure. Sounds like a great idea.
Tonnerwall won. Glass Slipper won. Those are all they were racing here. Glass Slipper had been running against Batish and other top sprinters, and people kind of ignored her and got a decent price on her.
Oh, so yes.
Those are the types of horses I think we're going to try to look for and give some insight. And we're going to assume that we're going to have a nice firm course out in Del Mar, but they are getting some weather out there, so we'll see.
Well, they got 2 weeks for the weather to go away. It never rains in Southern California. I heard somebody sing that one time. I don't know who it was, but someone should think about writing a song about that. All right, Tom, for those who want to follow along next week, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there so that when we go live, be it on Facebook or on YouTube. So if you hit the subscribe button on YouTube and the bell, it'll alarm you when we're
it maybe alarm you. Yeah. Yeah. Go listen to the picks and don't play them.
Yes. So head on over to YouTube when you get that notification. If you like us on Facebook, you'll be notified. That's probably a better word when we're about to go live with our preview of international flavor for the Breeders' Cup. And then, of course, you can follow us on Twitter. Our man Sean will make sure that he lets you know when we're about to go live next Friday. And it's always going to be at the same time, 1:00 Eastern, here on Horse Racing Radar TV. Till we catch up again, folks, as always, we hope that all your picks, especially the ones at St. Cloud, Newbury, and Doncaster, end up in the winner's circle. Have a fantastic Saturday, everybody.
Absolutely.